In the last video, we understood what continuous integration and continuous delivery mean, CICD as it's commonly called, and looked at their benefits and how they have transformed the software delivery cycle. In this video, we will look at how Jenkins fits perfectly into the role of a continuous integration server and have a quick look at its core features. Now, this is only going to be an introductory session to get you started off on Jenkins. We will not be diving deep into the features in this video, but we will do so later in the course. Think of this video as a quick bite into a dish to give you a sense of its taste. So let's get tasting, shall we? So what is Jenkins? Jenkins is an award-winning, cross-platform and the most popular open source tool to perform continuous integration and build automation. The basic functionality of Jenkins is to execute a set of predefined steps. Example, to compile Java source code and build a jar from the resulting classes. Then deploy this jar onto a web server, and after that run a set of Selenium test cases, so on and so forth. Now, the trigger for this execution can either be time-based or event-based. For example, you can trigger something every 20 minutes or after a new commit in a Git repository. Jenkins is used to build and test your software projects continuously, making it easier for developers to integrate changes into the project. It also allows you to continuously deliver your software by providing powerful ways to define your build pipelines and integrating with a large number of testing and deployment technologies. In addition, Jenkins monitors the execution of the steps and allows you to stop the process if one of the steps fail. Jenkins can also send out notifications in case of a build success or failure. Jenkins supports the complete development lifecycle of a software from building, testing, documenting the software, deploying, and other stages of software development lifecycle. By using Jenkins, software companies can accelerate their software development process, as Jenkins can automate build and test at a rapid rate. Jenkins achieves continuous integration with the help of plugins. Plugins are interfaces that allow Jenkins to talk to various other tools. So if you want to integrate a particular tool, you need to install the plugin for that tool. For example, if you want Jenkins to initiate a build whenever developers check in code into Git, you will have to install the Git plugin. Similarly, if you want to use any other tool, you'll have to install that respective plugin. In fact, Jenkins is interconnected with well over 1,000 plugins that allow you to integrate it with most of the development, testing, and deployment tools out there. We will look at how to install and use plugins in detail later in the course. Okay, so let's look at how Jenkins acts as a CI server. Here, we have a set of developers working on a project, and they're able to do frequent check-ins into the source code repository. Jenkins is able to poll the SCM system for changes, and as soon as the code is committed, Jenkins will get the code built, tested, and deployed on the server. If there are any issues or bugs with the code, the developers are notified immediately. Now, this is a very straightforward workflow that we just saw, and of course, Jenkins is capable of doing much more. But for now, let's just keep things simple. As you can see, Jenkins can completely automate the build and deployment process and improves the efficiency of the software delivery lifecycle. Now, let's look at some of the major features that Jenkins offers out of the box and many more that can be added through plugins. Open source tool. Jenkins is an open source tool with great community support, and it's absolutely free of cost. It is built with Java, and hence it is portable to all major platforms. Easy installation. To install Jenkins, all we have to do is just run the command java -jar -jenkins.war. This will deploy Jenkins in a servlet container, which is also inbuilt. No additional install, no database or anything else that is needed. If you prefer an installer or a native package, that is available as well. Installing Jenkins is just a breeze, and we will look at installing Jenkins in the next video. Easy configuration. Jenkins can be configured entirely from its friendly and simple web interface. This comes with extensive on-the-fly error checks and inline help. So no technical expertise is needed for doing this. Rich plugin ecosystem. We've already touched upon this. Jenkins integrates with virtually every SCM, build, deployment, and testing tool that exists. If you don't find an appropriate plugin for your use, it's extremely easy to start developing your own custom plugin. Extensibility. Most parts of Jenkins can be extended and modified, and it's easy to create new Jenkins plugin. This allows you to customize Jenkins to your needs. Distributed builds. Jenkins can distribute, build, and test loads to multiple computers with different operating systems. So if you're building a software for multiple operating systems, Jenkins is capable of handling that also for you. Let's now look at the Jenkins distributed architecture. Now, if you really think about it, Jenkins setup is very easy as a CI machine running all the tests on its own. But when you're getting more and more jobs inside your CI server, that's when it becomes challenging. Beyond a threshold, it becomes obvious that one instance of Jenkins is just not enough to run all your jobs. For situations like this, Jenkins has a support for a master-slaves concept. In this case, Jenkins will have several instances or nodes known as slaves that will be responsible for running the jobs, while there is one main instance known as the master responsible for managing the slaves. So the Jenkins master will take care of scheduling the jobs, dispatching the jobs to the slaves for the actual execution, monitoring the slaves, probably taking them online and offline as required, recording and presenting the job results, and of course, if needed, it can also execute some jobs directly. The Jenkins slave, on the other hand, it basically handles all the requests from the Jenkins master instance. Please note that the slaves can run on a variety of different operating systems. Before we conclude this video, I wanted to touch upon one more concept, the Jenkins pipeline. The Jenkins pipeline, or simply pipeline as it is called, is a suite of plugins which supports implementing and integrating continuous delivery pipelines into Jenkins. Jenkins pipeline is an incredibly useful addition that came into life with the Jenkins 2.0 release. It allows you to script your build pipeline consisting of one or more build jobs into a single workflow. Let's look at the diagram here, which is the representation of a few CI runs. The build is done first, which is followed by some quality checks and integration tests. After that, the functional testing is done, probably with Selenium, followed by a load and security testing, probably done in JMeter. This is followed by an approval and production deployment process. The Jenkins pipeline makes the visualization so much easier. The monitoring of which parts have been completed and which jobs are still in queue is no longer an issue. The build pipeline can become an essential part of your mental model about CI. We will learn about build pipelines in detail later in the course. This brings us to the end of this video. We now have a high-level understanding of what Jenkins is and its features. We will obviously look at everything that we've touched upon in detail during the upcoming videos. In the next video, we will get our hands dirty and get started with the installation of Jenkins. Until then, have fun and happy learning.